Hello everyone, welcome back to another Go Magic video. Today I would like to present you a really cool problem about escaping. So let's take a look at the board. It's Black's move, and then Black's job is really to escape this dragon over here. So at first glance you might be thinking maybe it's a problem about killing White's corner. But it turns out it is not possible. White just has too much eye space. Further, there is a first line move that threatens to connect with the main group over here. So the idea of this problem is for Black to make an escape. And obviously Black needs to make use of the weaknesses that White has in the corner. So first of all, some of the moves we need to eliminate is this push. If Black pushes and then White just connects, that just strengthens White and does nothing for Black. If Black Ataris from the outside, this is a better idea. However, White has a very resilient defense, that is to play the bamboo shape here. When Black takes, White can turn here to avoid the ko. When Black peeps in, White can turn here. Black can get this to Atari at any time. The problem is that there's no way to actually kill White's corner. If Black plays here, White can block. If Black plays here, technically this is already a Seki, but the problem with Seki is the outside. Black is dead, therefore this is a fake Seki. So we said the push and the Atari, neither works. What about Ataring here? This is more or less the same problem. When White connects, this move really strengthens White's group over here. If Black honeys, we can just cut Black off. And then this guy will always have only 2 liberties, and therefore there's no way to actually struggle anything. So if Black plays here, setting a little trap. If White plays here, Black has this chance, but White can actually Atari on the first line. When Black captures, White can just make a solid eye in another eye over here, and therefore White is alive, and there's no way for Black to connect. The squeeze over here doesn't really work because White can just Atari. When Black runs, White can connect on time, and then Black does not have enough eye space. So yeah, that's just a side thing. You see this squeeze over here, that means you reach a certain level in the game of Go. Unfortunately, this tactically does not work, right? It's usually a good vital point for this shape, but White can actually just deal with it this way. And then Black was able to gain half an eye, but that's not enough. So what kind of Tesujis can we play out? We talked about 3 moves already. What about this Atari? Well, when White connects, it's still the same problem. When you Atari, I think this time White can, so if you Atari over here, White can still play out the same move, right? So White can still play with Q2, and we're back to the same variation as before, where it's a Seki inside, but Black is dead outside. So the first move is for Black to actually attach at Q2, because no matter what we play, it seems like Q2 is a very vital point. White has absolutely no choice but to try to connect his group. If Black Ataris were back to the same variation where White's gonna live and there's no way for Black to live. So here it is very important for Black to play out the first Tesuji of the game. That is to throw in. This is a very common Tesuji, and I think it is a great idea for my viewers to remember this kind of shape. Usually you have a Tesuji to create liberty problems for your opponent. white has to capture. Black now Ataris, and then white needs to connect. If white Ataris here, black can take, this becomes a ko. And it is actually quite heavy for white as well. White obviously cannot connect because I can just keep capturing. So it just becomes a ko here. So if white wants to avoid this, white needs to connect. Black still needs to be very careful here. If black Ataris, white still can deal with it this way. So it seems like Q1 is a vital point. So what if we extend down? Well, if we extend down, white can just follow up. When black Ataris, white can actually just connect. So white's gonna have an eye by capturing the two stones here, and then white has an eye in the corner as well. So at this point, the only move for black to play is to extend into the corner. This does look a little bit hopeless for black. I mean, when white turns here, isn't black kind of in the same situation? Well, the key idea of this problem is really the next move. And it's actually not too hard to find because no matter what black plays next, if white's able to get the Q1 move, white will live inside. And then there's no chance for black. So black only move is to play the empty triangle. So that's usually a very nice Tsuji. Especially if you're trying to solve a life and death problem, or if it's in your real game, this kind of move could be worth thinking about. Against this move, white has absolutely no choice but to extend at 1-2. Because next move, black is threatening to play M1, then fill in at N1, so to stop that, white needs to immediately descend at S1. So we played a couple moves already on the board, but I believe that the problem has just started, right? We just started to solve this problem. At this point, we played some Tsuji, such as throw in, but extending down and extending down, but we're still kind of in trouble. If black plays this, so if black plays the Atari here, white needs to be careful. If white plays here, black can throw in, and then that becomes a problem because white cannot fill in from R1, he cannot fill in from the other side, so he has to go back and capture. But by the time you capture the stone here, it's already too late because I can capture the 5 stones as black on time. So it's very important for white to play Tsuji, that's to directly try to kill the 3 stones. When black captures, white can actually capture 3 stones, and it creates a Miai situation at Q2 and at T2. So either move will make white alive, and unfortunately there's no way for black to connect back, even with the stone at T5. If you crawl here, white can just turn. And then if you keep crawling, white can keep going all the way to the end. There's no way for black to connect back. So Ataring from the outside is not going to work. If black throws in, which is usually a great move to play, well, unfortunately this is a bad move in this life and death problem. So when white captures, black cannot stop the next move. That is for white to throw in at R1, and therefore black just failed at this problem. So we tried everything out, and it seems like the remaining move is really this Tsuji that is attached at 1-2. So that's already 3 Tsujis in this problem, and that's not over yet. Against this move, white needs to be careful now. So if white extends out, black's gonna throw in. When white takes, black can throw in again, and then when black extend at M1, it looks like it looks like this race is won by black, white cannot throw in. By the time you connect here, it's already too late once again. Well, what if white connects here? Well, that's just the same situation as before. When black blocks here, black's able to make use of these two dead stones to create a liberty problem for white and therefore win the race at M1. So against this move, white has no choice. The only move that does not fail is to throw in at R1 right now. If black Ataris, then all the work you did before becomes useless, because when white captures, there's a Mi again. One is connecting, the other one is playing the Q2 and make alive. The only move for black to play here is actually to throw in a T3. So against this move, white can capture at 1-1. Well, white can play this, but it's kind of useless because black can throw in again. So whether white exchanges this move or not, it doesn't really matter. What matters is white has to go back and capture these three guys. At this point, you might stare at the board and then you realize there's still a Mi going on. So there is this connecting at T5. Well, black does not have time to throw in because white can, just drag the stone back and then this is all connected. So black still dies. But on the other hand, if black captures, white can come back and fix the Q2. So this is probably the most difficult moment of this problem. And this is where this problem is so nice and neat, right? It's already been 3 Tesujis, and we still need to find the Tesuji of this problem. And amazingly, there is a Tesuji. This might be really hard to read out for my viewers because this is a really high level Tesuji. But the correct move for black to play is to attach at T6. So when black attaches at T6, there is hope for black. So you might be wondering, well, what does this attaching, do? Like it doesn't really connect me and it doesn't really kill the corner. So let's say, for example, if white blocks this connection, because next move, black isn't going to play S7. So if white wants to prevent that from happening, apparently now black can throw in at Q2. Because of this really weird exchange, somehow white is not able to connect back home anymore. This is the amazing part of this Tesuji. If white plays here, black can capture, obviously. And if white captures here, remember to not play the T5. Rather, you have a Tesuji is to play S5. That will completely cut off white's connection. And this liberty fight is not going to be great for white because white just doesn't have enough liberties to fight black. So that's the consequences of white trying to stop the connection towards the outside. What if white stops in a different way? It doesn't really matter because when black captures, there's a Mi. Black's gonna throw in to kill the corner at Q2, and black's trying to cut at S7 to connect to the outside, and white cannot stop both. So what if white just connect at Q2, right? So white leaves the corner, and he absolutely should do that. Well, here black amazingly can play S7, and amazingly, what we realize is that this white stone, its existence on the board not only does not help white, it actually does plenty of harm for white, because now white cannot block off this connection. Had this stone not been at t4, white can actually kill this dragon, but now this stone is purely doing negative work for white. So that's kind of amazing phenomenon in the game of Go. Is that one of your stones actually just harming you? So, and that's the end of the problem. At this point, black is able to connect towards the outside and escape the dragon. But just to do a quick recap, we've seen how many Tsujis that are involved. So I can't really call this a Tatsuji, but this throw-in is definitely a Tsuji. It's a very common Tsuji when black Ataris, and it's very difficult also to think about just extending here, creating this weird triangle shape. When black plays here, we need another Tsuji that just shortens white liberty without giving white chance to make any ko. And when white plays here, black throws in. When white captures, and we have a final Tsuji, which is the best Tsuji, to attach at t6. And when white connects, we can just hane and to connect to the outside. So this is definitely an amazing problem. I personally really like it, so I present to you guys today. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more problems like this. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.